Hello, Phi Delta, and welcome to your Commander Review. For those of you joining us for the first time, this is a series on YouTube where I take a look at your PP. Your PP being your deck's premise and its practicum. Your premise is the idea behind your deck. It's what you hope it does. It's the dream, you know? And your practicum is the stuff you actually did. Settling for that relationship you didn't want. Never telling your roommate your true feelings. Moving to a town you didn't want to move to for a job you never really cared about, and then you wake up and you're 50 and you never achieved any of the shit you talked about in your primer. That's your practicum. So we're going to spend a couple minutes talking about the idea of the deck, whether or not it is reasonable to achieve it at the power level the author wants it to be achieved at. And then we'll talk about the actual card choices. Now, I've read this primer ahead of time. We can shortcut a lot of this because, as I understand it, this review is more about, help, Mauled, it's too good and everyone's mad. This is a Zethi deck. Now, Zethi, using multi-kicker, can exile instants under her, and she can let you recast them every combat. What this results in is an evil, terrible dipshit control deck, which Phi Delta has successfully done. And what they are talking about is, how do I make people not hate this? By their estimation and by the rules of the bracket system, this is bracket 3. At the play groups they play in, they are typically forced to play up at 4, which they cannot handle at all because the 3s are not built to deal with regular interaction. And everybody gets mad because they reach what Phi Delta has coined garbage time, which I do love, which is the stage of a control deck's victory where you can no longer achieve anything meaningful, and you're now waiting for the end. You're waiting for Zethi to get across the line and kick you in the head with those sweet, sweet toes. So the question that falls to us is not necessarily how do we make the deck better, because if we wanted to make this able to compete up at bracket 4, which I don't think is what you want, but if that's what we wanted to do, it would involve a whole lot of game changer, this, proxy, that, you can't work with a budget, this, and none of that would be terribly fun. So what I'm going to do my best to do is confront the core issue of the people who I am beating feel like it takes way too long to win once I am in a winning position. So what that means is we can probably skip over a lot of your card choices because I am going to shortcut most of your card choices as, yup, that was right. The the things we are going to talk about are more, well, what categories could you shave from in order to do more damage? Now, I will reference the primer, which contains basically all of this information. People don't like Rasp removal, doesn't win fast enough when it's clearly won, can't be played higher than bracket 3 effectively, but causes social problems when it played there. So as far as how little permanence do you think, how few permanence, sorry, let me be pedantic, how few permanence do you think I could put into the deck and still have it be functional? The problem here is that functional is at an intersection between playing Magic well and people hating it. I think you could do a deck where your only permanents were lands and Zethi. I think it would be very fragile. You couldn't bring it to a tournament. But in the landscape of Commander, functional means so many things, dog. Ladies looking left is functional to some people. So you could do it for sure. I think it would be a much worse version of the deck than what you have now. Are the creature generators necessary given that there aren't that many of them? I will take a look at them and see how good they are at converting to lethal. Could this deck function with just bounce spells instead of hard removal? There are many hard removal cards that I love and don't think I'd do that, but I've thought about it. Yeah, it could function. It would be worse, for sure. So, we want to avoid expensive cards. We want to avoid game changers. I don't particularly like cards that surprise warp the game around them, said the control player running Hullbreaker Horror. I am not your therapist. I will not dig into that super deeply. There is something worth digging into there. So the main thing we have to do is take this threat and damage section and figure out how make better. So stuff like Astrologian's Planisphere, I think that's pretty good. Every non-creature spell puts a counter on this creature. Make big off of land drop, sure. This is okay. I don't know exactly how much damage it represents every turn, but probably between 4 and 6 additional. Monastery Mentor I like because all these guys have prowess. So if you get into I have my first big turn and now you're all locked down, Woo, the army of prowess monks is definitely going to kill you soon. Um, sure. This will help get there. Counters off of Storm, for sure. I don't. Swarm intelligence is kind of like over the top big. I probably win after this, but I don't really think it directly threatens damage. So if this is what we have for the threatening damage section, there are a couple things we can do to make that better. The first is like a card that was basically made for Zethi. This is Sentinel Tower. It is $1.30, and it deals damage to people equal to your storm count. I'm going to give you a moment to get up off the floor, get your heart rate down, have your pupils undilate. The very first time I saw this was in my friend's Zethi deck, and it killed us all obscenely quickly. This represents a terrifying amounts of damage, and because it goes to any target, will also help you establish board control early on. Now, this is, I think, the only one I know of that is going to just straight shoot people. We can take a quick look at storm count matters. I mean, you could do Aether Flux, but, like, I don't think that's going to make people like you more. You could do something cute like Geralt or Geralt. This is another thing where it's like storm count's gonna matter. It's gonna get you some big and wide bodies pretty quickly. I would certainly class that over like Scroll of the Masters even. But I do want to give credit to your position of, well, we should go for a Voltron kill, right? Deck's about Zethi. Zethi's going to have a bunch of stuff under her already. I need to protect her anyway. Let's go for Voltron. The thing I see missing from threat and damage is what Liss Hexed comes stapled to her, Double Strike. Like, do you want to threatens way more damage than Swarm Intelligence? Bam, 86 cents. Not a game changer. No problem. Your commander having double strike. We are now halfway there. Oh, it makes them better. It makes them better when you're attacking early too. So we're going to want to go to Scryfall Tagger and see, do we have other ways to give double strike? We have other good ways to give double strike. You could Fire Shrieker, but it's like, it's a more mana intensive investment, and we have to reinvest the mana every time every time your commander gets removed. Now Genji now here's a bad card. Now here's a bad card that's outside of your $5 budget range. This would just be like, this you would win quickly. If it was time to win, you would win very quickly, but it is so expensive that it is probably not worth doing. Flaming Fist will do it, hell yeah, for 16 cents. This will do it for way too much fucking money. Oh, another one of my favorite bad cards, Gavel of the Righteous. I guarantee you're not going to give this card enough respect, but you should. So, it gets charge counters on your combat. The equipped creature gets +1/+1 for each counter on the equipment, but they build up independently. And at 4 more counters, equipped creature has double strike. So, if you get this on turn 2, turn 3, turn 4, whatever, you are essentially on a 4-turn clock until you can have a 7/7 double striker before you do any other buffs. That to me gets you out of garbage time very quickly. So that's probably the short list of what I would do. I would do Sentinel Tower, Duelist Heritage, not Genji Glove, You didn't even fuck around with Flaming Fist and then Gabble of the Righteous. And just those 4 cards, like if you can, because I presume you work through the deck pretty well. I presume our draw is pretty good. So if we can just put in like a couple instances of either these double strikes or big buffs, I think your problem if I don't win the game quickly enough is like totally solved. I'm trying to see if there's any other really good one. Dual Sun technique is kind of cute, depending on how many ways you have to put +1/+1 counters on her. I know I saw a couple. I didn't see like a million, though. So unless you already have a million, I wouldn't do Dual Sun technique. But if you do like the +1/+1 counter stuff, I would do that. I would do that. This guy kind of sucks. That's really expensive. That is not legal. That is a sorcery. Yeah, so the list isn't going to get much longer than what we have in front of us right here, but that is your answer. As far as I'm concerned, your answer is I got to double strike, or I got to have this other thing that just chucks a house at people. So in terms of what we can shape, you have this motherfucker already. Look at me. Look at that. I'm a fool. Okay. I think you lied about this tag, but okay. So in terms of the creature makers you have, which do you need to keep? We have Geralt the Fleshwright, who I do like, but again, I am presuming that your good turns look like 3 to 5 spells every time. If they do not look like that many spells, I would cut him. Then you have Kaikar, who can make a flyer, or he can flicker something, so he can like protect Zethi, but we would have to give up the pile, which I don't think feels great. Or we can make 1/1s with flying. We have Monastery Mentor, we have Murmuring Mystic, we have Talrand. For the problem you are having, I think you can get away with cutting these token makers. Outside of Geralt, again, if you have those like reliable 3 or more spells on each of my Zethi turns. It may introduce a new problem of you being relatively vulnerable to early aggression, but I think you can solve that by using your interaction. Because if we just go on a 1-to-1 basis, the tokens you make from like Murmuring Mystic or Talrand, or even Kaikar, are not going to represent as much damage as you will throw around from double striking with your commander, or even from Sentinel Towering. It'll take a while for them to catch up to a Sentinel Tower. And so I think you can trade those out and see how things go. It moves you from more like defense to more offense. These token makers you have in here seem a lot like I'm putting these guys in so I can have early blockers before I'm ready to chuck Zethi down and really lay into people. So I'll do one playtest, and I want you to keep in mind, I'm going to play the deck wrong. I'm so sorry, but I'm gonna. I have not played a Zethi list. I've seen it played. I understand what you want to do. I'm going to miss some of the nuances of this deck. But anytime I see a token maker, I'm going to pretend I saw a double strike card, and we'll see if that helps. So we have a double strike card in our opening hand. I want to say it's Gabble of the Righteous, because I get to do that, because I make the rules. We go Plains. We go Gavel. I'll flip this over so you don't get confused. Gavel of the Righteous has 1 counter. This enters tap, but it's okay, because bam, Azorius Signet. We're low-key shields down, but I don't think that's the end of the world. I'm going to Vega the Watcher. I probably have to Pongify somebody. Turn 4, somebody's probably getting antsy. 3 counters on this. Arcane Signet. Hold up some mana. See what happens. I hope I don't die. On someone else's end step, I thirst for discovery. Don't have a basic land, so we're discarding Surge of Brilliance. And we're discarding Shelter, probably. I promise of loyalty, these dumb bitches. Get me a Thunderclap Drake. Bounce on it crazy style. I have 4 mana. I can kick Zethi once. I'm going to presume you could have done all of this a fair bit faster than I did. So I think I'm going to put Pongify and Surge of Brilliance. Can I even pay for that? No, I can only pay for 1. Evil. Yeah, I'll fucking do it. It's turn 7. I got to do something. I'll put Pongify under Zethi for a multi-kicker of 1. Everybody's really mad now, but I'm going to hope they use their removal on each other. Bam. Gavel of the Righteous goes up. So, if this is Kaikar, what it represents for us is we have a couple 1/1s. If it is Gavel, dream scenario for Gavel. Even if it's not Gavel, we at least now have Double Strike. And we can move to combat, cast this Pongify. We get to draw a card. We get totally fucked because I was way too greedy and I should have waited a turn. But the beauty is that even if we're screwed, we have a 9/9 Double Striker. That is murder. That is murder on your mind. And then we probably have to, like, Sajiri Shelter her off of our turn. Okay, now we Factor Fiction, top 5. Yeah, sure. I think realistically I fucked this playtest up, but I do think it drives home the point of Gavel of the Righteous. And then this is another guy that I think could be a double striker, and you would still be relatively happy. You probably wouldn't have kept that hand because it's a 1-lander, but I did because I'm a fool, and I'm happy I did. Can't Factor Fiction. I can curate. I gotta find a land drop. That's a double strike card. That's going to be Duelist Heritage. We draw this. Can't use the 1 blue. So we have Duelist Heritage. We have a Curate that can go under Zethi. I think we would pass this turn, and then if we needed to, we would blow a bunch of removal, and if we didn't, we would Mind Splice Apparatus on their end step. And then this turn, we would open Fort again, and we would double explode somebody's peanuts outside of our turn. And then we would miss our land drop. So we would Factor Fiction for 2. I put some number of lands into my hand. I probably get like these cards. Yeesh. This is now super cheap. But just board wipe everybody. Except for my Thunderclap Drake. I think I need 3 white pips to do it, technically. I do, yeah. I think and then something happens from here. I think the important point across both these playtests is that 1, I don't know how to play your Zethi deck very well. 2, the damage represented by stuff like Talrand, by stuff like even maybe Leonin Lightscribe. Leonin Lightscribe I keep going back and forth on in my head because he at least buffs Zethi to get to the Voltron kill numbers sooner, which is kind of what we're trying to do with the double striking. Most of your token generation does not get you to a game-ending position nearly as quickly as one of these double striking cards would. So I would recommend trading those out for the double striking cards, and you're going to be more shields down in the early game because you're going to have fewer things. Like you can't Okay, turn 1, like turn 2 ramp, turn 3 play the chump blockinator 3000, turns 4 and beyond make chump blockers until I can Zethi them. You're gonna have to like work harder to politic. You might have to like add in another board wipe or two, but I do think it would solve the issue of like, oh man, Phi Delta's definitely winning, but it's gonna take him 10 fucking turns. So that is going to be my most express recommendation. Get you a pylon, get you some double striking, and then I think you still get to garbage time and you get to enjoy it, but it doesn't last forever. So, very best of luck, and I do hope this helped.